So we discussed this adhesive and cohesive property of the water molecule. Now if they exist as a continuous unit, and the continuous unit can stay along the stems to make a continuous water columns, and also inside the cells they can exist as a continuous unit. So then it can give this mechanical support. And the absorption of water from soil, so let's say the cell is like this. So then cells start to absorb one water molecule. This water molecule is linked with another water molecule. Then it can also drag the other molecules. So it makes a continuous line. Then it helps to bring into the cell. Right, this is a Tertiary movement. Tertiary movement is again when water exists as a continuous column like this. It can exist a pressure, tertiary pressure, and also the water is moving with the pressure from high pressure to the low pressure. So the adhesive and cohesive property is important to exist as a one column. Then the last two, transport of water within plant. Transport of within the plant, we will learn xylem is the tissue responsible for transport. To transport, they should again exist in a one unit. Then it can pull upward and drag the other water molecules. Now this last one we discuss as a solvent. Water is excellent solvent. So cohesive and adhesive property is a one property. Solvent property is another one. The third and fourth is high specific heat capacity, and the water is floating when it's freezing. So this is directly dissolving is it is a solvent. The solvent property is used, right? Yeah, I think almost all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 6. Yes, most of them answered well. I think without a big knowledge, we can split everything into two groups. Dissolving is solubility. Then you can directly go for that one without analyzing other four choices. Okay, we have done water. Right, we are coming to the next section, macromolecules. Yes, we learn new things, macromolecules. Yes, these are large organic molecules in life. So we can define macromolecules as large organic molecule in life. And mostly the macromolecules also referred as a polymer. The polymers are made out of monomers. Monomers are single unit join together to make a polymer. Join together to make a polymer. Right, we consider the macromolecules under this category. carbohydrate, proteins, nucleic acid, and then lipid. So this carbohydrate, protein and nucleic acid, these three made out of monomers, hence they are polymer. So we can't consider lipid as polymer, but we can still say lipid is a macromolecule. So 1, 2, 3. Carbohydrate, protein, nucleic acid are polymer because they made out of monomers. Lipid is not made out of monomers. So it doesn't have a single unit to make the big molecules. So this is the definition of macromolecules and definition of polymers. So you can copy this down under macromolecules. Okay, we can check first. Molecule is the carbohydrate. So carbohydrate is the first macromolecules we're going to learn, right? I hope you copied this one. Macromolecules, large organic molecules in life, and macromolecules mostly exist in polymer. Monomers, single unit, joined together to make polymers. Carbohydrate, protein, nucleic acid are the example of polymer, but lipid is not made out of single units. First, carbohydrate. Now carbohydrate, again we divide into a monosaccharide, disaccharide and polysaccharide. I don't think I want to emphasize too much because you know these things. Carbohydrate divide into a monosaccharide, polysaccharide and disaccharide. So straightforward, we go to the monosaccharide. Under monosaccharides, we can find different sugars. So carbohydrate made out of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen molecule. Okay, again the monosaccharides, they have only one unit. Mono is a one unit. Under monosaccharide, there are again a list of monosaccharides based on the carbon number. 3 carbon, 4 carbon, 5 carbon, 6 carbon, I think there's 7 carbon again like this. Naturally occurring monosaccharide exist. So here triose, we use this word triose for 3 carbon molecules. Tetrose, pentose, hexose. Hexa, penta, tetra and trio is the number, right? Tetra 3, di is 2, mono is 1, tetra is 4 and penta is 5, hexa is 6. Okay, one of the most important thing for life is glucose. And after that fructose and galactose. These two also important for the life. They are naturally occurring. They help to build up the life and sustainability of the life. And here ribose and deoxyribose. Ribose and deoxyribose. Okay, then ribose and deoxyribose, it is abundant in DNA and RNA. This one is less common in nature, erythrose. Erythrose, they are found in organisms but less commonly. Some example, it is common in a plant called Rosella, fungus, right? Rosella. Rosella is it's a lichen actually. Rosella is a lichen. Group of plants come under lichen. And we can find a large amount of erythrose in this kind of lichens. And triose is again very common, 3-carbon glyceraldehyde. These are the example given for these monosaccharides. But we are very interested to learn about the glucose as a candidate of these monosaccharides. You can add this on the notes. There is a column 3 carbon, 4 carbon, 5 carbon, 6 carbon, and the other column it says what are the sugars, right? Alright, so we're going to learn the glucose structure. So glucose is called hexose, it has 6 carbon, right? Now when we look glucose, it is a white color powder and mostly naturally existing in aqueous solution, dissolved in the solution. So when we dissolve in aqueous solution, it makes two type of structures. One is called a linear structure. So linear structure, carbon, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 carbon we can line up like this. And then other groups, hydrogen and OH groups attached. And another important thing, the first carbon, you can see a double bond with oxygen, like this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is called a carbonyl group. And this is also called a functional group. And the carbonyl group located in the end of the molecule, at the first carbon, we also call aldose. Because carbonyl group not in the middle, it is in the first. So we call it aldose. And it is a functional group. That means it has a reactivity. It has a reactivity because of the organization of electrons between carbon and oxygen. This area is reactive. Then rest of the things, third one OH is this side, H, H, H. This side OH, 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 OH. Right, I think you can copy this down, a linear structure of the glucose molecules. Usually in liquid, aqueous solution, this exists in 3%. Around 3% we can see this structure in aqueous solutions. Right, when we're going to draw the circular structure, cyclic form, this carbonyl group, this area is going to make a bond with carbon number 5. So this group is reactive and they can react with this OH, actually the other way, and we had to go over it like this. Yes. And then it formed the circular structure like this. So here carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3, carbon number 4, carbon number 5. So you see carbon number 1 and carbon number 5 make the bonds, and we are not going to learn detail about this bonding. And then carbon number 6 is here. And the distribution of OH, H is here, OH is here, H is here, OH is here, OH is here, H is here, H is here, OH is here, and H is here. So this is the ring structure. And you can also notice this OH, carbon number 1, as carbon number 1 is the most important carbon for this glucose molecule, and it is also called anomeric carbon, but we are not going that extent. Their OH group is below here. If it is going up, the glucose molecule is slightly changed. So this is called, we can call this version is alpha glucose, right? Carbon at the OH group is below carbon number 1 is called alpha glucose. So you can copy this down under the notes, linear and the ring, there is a space. You can copy these, right? So aldose is, the carbonyl group is in the first carbon. Carbonyl groups at the first carbon, we call it aldose. If it is going somewhere in the middle, if it is located in the middle, we call ketose. Ketose sugar and aldose sugar. So glucose is aldose sugar. If the carbonyl group is located, let's say carbon number 3, then it's the middle. Then we call it a ketose sugar. Okay, if we take the 3 monosaccharide, glucose, fructose and galactose, they have the same chemical formula. That is C6H12O6. So fructose and also galactose, they also have this formula. But then how they differ from its structure, why they become a different monosaccharides. Just to learn that why they differ, I think hope you copied this one. So if you have copied this linear and ring structure, we can find answer why fructose and galactose are different sugars even though they have a same molecular formula. Now I can explain if I take the fructose molecule. Now in fructose molecule, the carbonyl group is located in the second carbon. Right, so here carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3, carbon number 4, 5 and 6. Now look at here, fructose molecule, the carbonyl group is here, functional group is here. So as a result, this is a ketose sugar, because carbonyl functional group is in the second carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, it has 6 carbon, but their orientation of OH group and carbonyl groups are different. Because of that, they become a different structure. And a ring structure, it's like this. So the carbon numbers are carbon number 1. Carbon number 1 is this. Carbon number 2. Carbon number 3. Carbon number 4. Carbon number 5. Carbon number 6. Now you see, even they have the same carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Because of this carbonyl group orientation, change completely different structure. So it make a different structure. So it has a not like a glucose molecule, the ring structure is completely different. Now fructose is a sugar in most of the plants and also fruits. Right, you can also copy this down under the fructose. So this group is a functional group. Later on you're going to learn these sugars has the reducing power. Reduction is gaining of electrons. Oxidation is losing electrons. So this group has reduction power. So we call it reducing sugars. Because of this functional group. Glucose is a reducing sugar because it has a clearly functional group. Fructose has functional group. Fructose is a reducing sugar. The next one is galactose. I hope you copied this one, the two structures. Now galactose, it is very important Galactose is a milk sugar. It is in milk, and this is abundant sugar in milk, and most of the mammals, they can produce milk, and they are found in mammals, right? Okay, again similar to glucose, it is like this. Now look at the difference from glucose molecule. This OH is here, this OH is here. The orientation of OH in the carbon, it's different. Then rest is same. Because of this orientation, it is different to glucose, but still it is reducing sugar because it has this carbonyl group. Okay, so we are not asking the carbonyl group C bond with O like this. So this is considered as a carbonyl group. Carboxylic group, carbonyl group, they are different groups, arrangement of carbon and oxygen. So this is the carbonyl group. This is called carbonyl group. And the other thing is, there's another question, the isomers. We actually not going that far because if you look, questions are not asking, and the syllabus, it is going far away from the syllabus. D and L isomers. Isomers are how this arrangement of the oxygen and OH groups around the carbon atoms made the isomers. The D glucose and L glucose like things, they have a different isomers. But mostly, if you look at the content we have to learn, we are not going too much bondings and the different levels of the glucose molecules. Okay, glucose, fructose and galactose. These are the three monosaccharides. Now these monosaccharides join together to make a disaccharide. So what are the disaccharides we need to know? Maltose, lactose and sucrose. Maltose, lactose and sucrose. Now maltose are again common sugars in most of the plants, and the lactose is milk sugar, and the sucrose is again a plant sugar. It's a plant transport sugar. But we're going to learn how monosaccharide join together to make the disaccharide. Let's see how it make with glucose and glucose. This is one glucose molecule. I will not draw everything, but this is the first carbon, carbon number 1. And the carbon number 1 has H and OH. And if there's another carbon comes to this place, this carbon is 4 here. This is 2 glucose molecule. Okay, then this OH, one OH can react with this OH group, and then it can form a water molecule. Afterward, sorry, I will do like this: OH and H, and then it can make a one water molecule. Then this remaining oxygen make a bond with the rest of the molecules. So this kind of a reaction to form water molecule is called a condensation reaction or polymerization reaction. Condensation or polymerization reaction. And the bond is called a glycosidic bond. Same way, glucose and fructose join to make sucrose, glucose and lactose join to make lactose. They all make this kind of bond. Right, can you copy this down under the disaccharides? Now again, disaccharide, they have this reducing power because they have this functional group. The functional group is available, so it has a reducing power. The disaccharide is also reducing sugar. This disaccharide is maltose, so it is also reducing sugar. Disaccharide is also reducing sugar. Maltose, glucose and glucose. Right, if we try to see the other two, sucrose and lactose, it's the same way. They make the condensation reaction and this glycosidic bond. So you can copy this down, and I can move into the next section. Right, let's see sucrose. Right, this is the glucose molecule. Just one thing before we move to the sucrose. Yes. Okay, this carbon number 1 has this functional group of oxygen. But now this carbon of the first glucose molecule